Hi, and thank you for joining me for Myth Busting with Keystone Wealth Partners. My name is John Hagenson. I'm the Managing Director at Keystone Wealth Partners, and we're in video 4 of our series on why you might not want to pay off your home mortgage early. Today, what I want to talk about is liquidity. Now, one of the things that most people prefer with their money is to have access to it, right? At least to some of it. And one of the challenges with paying off your mortgage early is that you lose access to some of that money as it's dropped into the equity of your home. We already talked about in previous videos that equity actually has a 0% rate of return. Your loan isn't callable, so there's really no reason you don't gain additional security by getting it paid off early either. But what I want to talk about specifically today, and let me give you an example. You have two people. Let's use an example that actually happened in real world. Fort Wayne, Indiana had a Pfizer plant. And Pfizer created the drug Lipitor, right? It's like a $12 billion drug. A couple chemical engineers for Pfizer that live in Fort Wayne are neighbors, and they each own $500,000 houses. And they're both making really good money, and one of them decides to double pay their mortgage because they had the cash flow to do it, so they double paid their mortgage. The other person just makes the minimum payment. Minimum payment, minimum payment. And at the conclusion of the time after a period of time, what happens? Pfizer goes generic in 2010, 2011, I believe, and they shut down that plant in Indiana. It's actually happened. The plant got shut down. Both these chemical engineers are out of work. Well, the one that had been paying double on their home, let's say he owed $250,000 on the $500,000 house. Well, that person is going to go to the bank and say, "Can I get a home equity loan? Because, I have this equity in my house and I need to get to some of the money." What's the bank going to say? "Well, no problem. Just show us some proof of income and some other things and we can get you a home equity loan." Well, the person says, "Well, that's why I need the money. I lost my job. That's why I actually need to suck some money out of this home." Well, meanwhile, the other person who had been making the minimum payment and taking what they would have double paid and investing it in a side account, getting compound interest rather than simple interest, like we talked about in video 2 of this series. Not only do they have the $250,000, but they have more because it's been growing at compound. It's all in a side account. It's all accessible. They have the next 20 years of their mortgage payment set aside to be able to sustain them during this time of uncertainty with a job loss. Furthermore, right, if you take the final part of this, which is interesting, is which house does the bank want more? Which house is the bank more likely to want to try to foreclose on? Well, certainly the home of the first person that we talked about, because there's a lot more equity. The person that doesn't have a lot of equity in their home, the bank's going to say, "Oh, let's work out a payment plan and let's do." So they're going to work with that person, and that's the person who has all kinds of flexibility and liquidity on the side because they didn't double pay on their mortgage. And furthermore, going back to the simple interest, compound interest, this person has a lot more money over here than this person saved by making the double payments. Hope this helped you with some of your questions, and I hope that it provides some context around your thinking on whether you should pay off your mortgage early or whether you should just make the minimum payment. Thanks for joining me.